This will be for the con assignment, graph quadratics in vertex form. Okay, let's do the warm-up one first. This is the warm-up, graph quadratics in vertex form. All right, so we already learned the quadratic equation in standard form. All right, standard form for the quadratic equation, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, the graph of an equation in this form will be a parabola. All right, so now we're going to write the same equation in vertex form. And this is also a parabola. It's going to be y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. All right. And we already know that the coordinates of the vertex are h, comma, k. So the reason this equation is called vertex form is because the vertex, the coordinates of the vertex, are already built into the equation. Okay, so if it's in this form, you can tell the vertex just by looking at it. Okay, see we have x minus h squared right here. So you just change the sign on whatever value this is right here. You change the plus minus sign on that value and it'll give you the x coordinate of the vertex, which we call h. And if you simply take this value on the end, you have the y coordinate of the vertex. All right. And of course, we said before, the coefficient a determines whether it opens up or down. Okay. If a is positive, it opens up. And if a is negative, it opens down. All right. So this a right here in the standard form is the same as this a right here in the vertex form. Okay, but I don't think we need that for this exercise, but the next one we will. Okay, so you might want to jot these down. Okay, so here they're asking, what is the vertex of the function? All right, so remember our formula. It's a times x minus h squared plus k. Okay, so all you have to do is change, for the h, this is the x coordinate of the vertex, and the k is the y coordinate of the vertex. Okay, so for h, all you have to do is change the plus minus sign of this value in parentheses. Okay, so it's negative 2 right here. That means h is going to be positive 2. Okay, and for k, that's just this value right here. That's positive 4. So that's it. It's just 2 comma 4. Very easy. You can tell just by looking at the equation. 2, hit tab, 4. 2 comma 4. All right, so it looks like they're asking different questions here. So let's see, what is the vertex of the function? Okay, this is h, and this is k. So, again, our formula, a times x minus h squared plus k. Okay, so for h, you just take this and change the plus minus sign. So h is going to be positive 3. And for k, you just take this value right here, including the sign. So k is negative 8. All right, so that goes right in the box. 3, and negative 8. All right, so the second question here, they want us to write one of the function's zeros, okay? Either one is accepted. So the zeros of the function, basically you have your graph, right? And this is the x-axis, and this is the y-axis. But the x-axis, the equation, if you drew a line on the x-axis, that would be y equals 0. Okay? So when they say the zeros of the function, they want to know what this equals when y equals 0. Okay, so the zeros are basically where the parabola hits the x-axis, which is y equals 0. Okay, so those points right there, those are called the zeros. Okay, they're called the zeros because the x-axis, the equation for the x-axis is y equals 0. Okay, if you drew a line here, that would be y equals 0. All right. So let's see. So we kind of did this exercise the other day. I'm going to set this whole thing equal to 0, okay? So see, this is g of x. This is the same as y equals, right? And we want to set y equal to 0. So I'm going to set this whole thing equal to 0. Okay? And now remember, we want to solve for this and just take the square root at the end. So on first step, I'm going to add the 8 to both sides. All right, the 8's cancel. And we have this mess here, 2 times x minus 3 squared. And that's going to equal 0 plus 8, which is 8. Okay, to get rid of the 2, we just divide both sides by 2. Cancels here. And we have x minus 3 squared equals 8 divided by 2 is 4. Okay, and now you just, to get rid of the squared, you just take the square root of both sides. So taking the square root removes the squared part, so it's x minus 3, and the square root of 4 is just 2. Also, negative 2 would work, but they said either one is accepted, so I'm going to just keep the positive 2, and then from here it's simple. You add 3 to both sides. The 3's cancel, and x is going to equal 2 plus 3, so x equals 5. Okay? And when you plug in 5 right here to get the y coordinate, see, we got the x coordinate already. This is going to be 5. All right? To get the y coordinate, you have to plug it into the original. Okay? So, if we put a 5 in here, right in place of x, we're going to get 2 times 5 minus 3 squared. Okay, we know 5 minus 3. Well, let me just copy the 2 first. I'll copy the 2. Inside the parentheses, we have 5 minus 3. That's going to be 2. And squared, that's going to be 4. And then we have the minus 8. 2 times 4 is 8. Minus 8 equals 0. Okay? So at x equals 5, y equals 0. So put in x equals 5 and y equals 0. Okay, and finally, they want us to graph the function, but now the graph is easy because we have 2 points. All right, the vertex is 3, -8, so let's do that first. All right, we can delete all this stuff now because we have our 2 points. The vertex is 3, -8, so go to x equals 3 and y equals -8. Just like that. All right, and the second point, x equals 5, y equals 0. X equals 5 and y equals 0. So that's it. We have the vertex and we got one of the zeros. Okay, the other 0 is actually right here. All right, but they said they only wanted one of them. Okay, vertex of the function, h and k, right? So remember, for the h, you just change the sign of this thing in parentheses. So it's going to be a -4 right here. And the k is just this one right here, +1. All right, so it's -4, +1. All right, and for part 2, they are asking for the function's y-intercept. Okay, so let's see what they mean by that. Most of you know the y-intercept already. This is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. Okay, most of you know the y-intercept is where it hits or crosses the y-axis. Okay, and at the y-intercept, this line right here, the whole line is x equals 0. Okay, so for the y-intercept, it's basically going to be where x equals 0. All right, so all you have to do is plug in x equals 0 to get the y-intercept. Okay, so the x-coordinate is definitely going to be a 0. All right, because this y-axis is x equals 0. That's the equation, if you drew a line right here. So just plug in x equals 0. Pretty simple, really. All right, I'm going to put a 0 right in here in place of x. Okay, that's going to be 0.5, same as 1/2, same thing. And 0 plus 4 is just 4, and that gets squared. So 0 plus 4 is 4, squared, that's 16. And then it's going to be plus 1. All right. Half of 16 is 8, and then plus 1, that's 9. So this point here is 9. And you just enter that in the box. 0, 9. Okay. And now that we have the vertex and we have a y-intercept, we can graph the function. All right. We only need 2 points. So I can delete everything else here. All right, and you can see the value for A is 0.5, so it opens up. All right, so let's do the vertex. -4 on the x, 1 on the y. Okay, so take the vertex, go to -4 on the x, and 1 on the y. All right, and now for the y-intercept, x equals 0, y equals 9. So take the other point, go to x equals 0, and y equals 9. And that's it. All right. You only need 2 points. If you were drawing this on paper, the parabola is symmetrical. So if you were drawing this on paper, you might need to do 3 points. But see right here, if you drew a line, I'll do it in pink. If you drew a line down the center of the parabola, it's symmetrical. It's the same on both sides. So if you went from the vertex and you went 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4. This would also be a point right there if you were doing it on paper. Okay, but on Khan Academy, they adjust it for you, so you only need the 2 points. All right, so we got the vertex and we got the x-intercept. No, the y-intercept. This is the y-intercept. All right, last one, graph the function. Okay, so let's see. Let's do the vertex first. H comma K, right? So you look inside the parentheses, you take this number, you change the sign, that's a positive 1. Then outside of the parentheses, you have this number and you just keep the sign, so it's positive 8. So the vertex is 1 comma 8, and we only need one other point. All right, I'm going to plug in x equals 0. That's the easiest way I know how to do it, like we just did. All right, plug in x equals 0. And if you do that, we have negative 2 times 0 minus 1. Okay, 0 minus 1 is negative 1. And if you square negative 1, that's positive 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. And then we have a positive 8 on the end. All right, so negative 2 times 1 is negative 2, plus 8 is going to be 6. So the x at x equals 0, y equals 6. All right, now that we have 2 points, we can draw it. Okay, vertex, go to x equals 1, y equals 8. Here's the vertex here, x equals 1, y equals 8. And for the intercept, 0 comma 6. Go to x equals 0 and y equals 6. Okay, x equals 0, y equals 6. That's it. And just to make sure, this parabola, you can see it opens down. Is it supposed to? Yes, look at this number right here, the negative 2. That proves that it opens down. Okay, because you got to remember the equation for the parabola in vertex form. This is a times x minus h squared plus k. So the a value is negative 2. When a is negative, it opens down.